What's Iron Man but blue? That comes in a big boy burger box. Big belly.
We review it Wednesday.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. DC is back.
I would say, let's see, I wrote it down actually. So I have some new, for their acronym DC, done creating, dying cinema, dying creature. I think that's maybe what it stands for.
Oh, really?
But I think Blue Beetle actually is going to help them out just a little bit.
That's what I'm thinking.
I told you, I texted you, I'm like, so I did this kind of opposite of what I usually do, and I went into it knowing way too much.
I was very surprised.
Because I had no idea about Blue Beetle at all. I didn't even, I mean, until you brought it up and we saw the trailers, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I was like, I better do some research, understand the character, blah, blah, blah. And there was just so much negative stuff about it. And that was, so I was pleasantly surprised.
That's what I like to hear.
Pleasantly surprised. There was a lot wrong with it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of fun things that were right with it.
Yeah. I mean, the CGI itself was just, it felt light years ahead of what happened with just the Flash.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. It's night and day.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be in the same universe.
Yeah, and their budget was $104 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
I love that.
But did you know that this Blue Beetle movie has a connection with Predator 1 and 2?
I bet it's one of the actors.
It's Mama Reyes.
There it is.
Yep.
You and your mama secrets.
Now, Nana Reyes stole the show.
Oh, she sure did.
But they did go a little too far, I think.
I agree.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
When she was flying the plane out of there.
Oh, yeah.
That was a little too far.
It was...
By the way, friends, there's spoilers all the way through here, so just be aware of it.
Yeah, we talked about spoilers?
Well, I mean, we can. I mean, I don't mean we have to right now, but what I'm saying is we're going to.
We're going to talk about spoilers.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I wish they would have done a little more backstory, if anything. Like, they've tried to go with the mystery element of, like, oh, yeah, back in the... I forget what war they were tying it to. If Grandma was involved, the Revolution.
Yeah,
she was tied in
like
with that.
the Mexican Revolution.
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
Right. But I wish they would have. They. There's people like the Joker as a villain who has a mysterious background where you really don't know what it is, and it works so well with the character that they don't show any of it. With Nana Reyes, I wish they would have tied her back a little bit. But maybe they'll probably do that in a sequel, I would guess.
They're not going to get a sequel.
You don't think
it's
so?
It's going to take a long time if they do.
It will.
Because, I mean, it's going to get gunnified.
Yeah.
And James gunnified is what I mean. He's not going to look at this.
I think he could.
I don't think he's going to because it didn't make any money. It's not going to make any money.
But I think if you're taking it with that litmus test... I mean, DC is screwed until Superman Legacy comes out.
Yeah. But he's looking at it, I think, from a very different... He's going to look at this, I think, from a Marvel perspective, and it's like, we need to make money on these, every single one of them. And that's what Marvel did, I think, at the beginning.
Right.
And DC's like... I mean, superhero movies are... We've talked about this before... Are they on their way out? I don't know, but they're definitely they're cool.
Yeah,
they're not hot like they were.
No,
5 years
that's
ago.
What you meant by cool. I understand now.
Yeah.
They're cooling off.
Cooling off.
Yeah,
like this is a cooling period for sure.
Yeah.
This 5 years ago, 6 years ago, identical to this hit. Absolutely. Would have been a hit.
See, I think there's a chance that it continues. It's going to be hard because it's a $104 million budget, but there's a lot of actors involved in it, and if they want to keep it going, they'll have to pay them at some point. And it's a big cast to keep together.
Yeah. Because I think that's a good transition. Because one of the thoughts that I had was, you could see that while George Lopez and Susan Sarandon are characters in here, they,
Right.
the anchor actors or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
they are not a draw anymore.
No.
Right? They're not going to. Susan Sarandon's in it, so I'm going to go.
That's what I was thinking with George Lopez. Even it was really fun to see him.
Yes,
but it would, like you said, it would never be a reason like, George Lopez is in it, so
I'm
I have
going
to see it.
Yeah. So with that said, I suppose the way to put it would be like these actors. No one knows who they are.
Have you ever watched a Karate Kid?
For the most part, no.
Not Karate Kid. Cobra Kai. That's what I meant.
Oh, I'm saying, I've seen the Karate Kids, all of them,
right.
but
Sorry, I got the
I'm
two
like,
mixed
no,
up.
they're not in. None of them
you're
are
right.
in there.
The Xolo, I can't pronounce these names. Maridueña. He is one of the main actors of Cobra Kai, and that was a fun, fantastic show that was pretty popular.
Sure,
but again, I didn't.
But
make
it's
the
not
connection
super
between the two.
mainstream.
No,
like it's not like
Yeah, no, I agree.
Robert Downey Jr. or some
Right.
of these big. So, but they were in it, right? You could see they were in it.
Yep.
They wanted to pour themselves into it. You could see that.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So, which was nice.
See, and
Whereas The Flash was the opposite for most of them.
Was, they spent way too much money.
We talked about that, but
see, and this is where I think it'll be interesting to see what DC does, because this is a film. It is kind of like a James Gunn-esque character, because Blue Beetle, like you said, is not well known. Guardians of the Galaxy, before that trilogy came out, wasn't well known. And I think it's a quirky enough character where if he gets the pieces together and it works out, I could see it continuing. Unlike what's going on with Shazam, Aquaman, I don't think is going to. But I wouldn't count it out of not getting a reboot, because I think it was interesting enough. And besides, like, the music wasn't like, I mean, it led into the Hispanic background with the music. That was
the music was kind of fun, but the music did not tie in the right places for me.
No, I agree.
It was just horribly done.
Which is what James Gunn. What I was going with that was what James Gunn is known for. Those two getting married together incredibly well.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of references, everything else. So, if we're taking bets and we're doing this 5 years down the road, I think it would be interesting to see what happens, because DC is such a shattered mess right now. It'll be interesting looking 5 years back onto this film.
Yeah, I agree, and I think. So I've said this before too. It seems like this was written fairly well.
Yeah.
Not great.
No.
I don't know. I didn't dig into it too much. I mean, for me, from my perspective, it just was not written super well. I don't think that it was written horribly either.
No.
I think that's where they have the disconnect, where they miss the mark on so many of these films. They're like, we've got to get it out. We've got to get it out. And we've talked about that with James Bond back in the 60s. I mean, they were pumping those out like once a year for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And they were really good films.
Yeah.
But they were written.
Yeah.
Right? Like they had books.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it was easy to adapt them to the screen.
Yep.
Now, I think if they were to go into this like Marvel did for once and just really write it all out and really know where they're headed and spend a lot of time and money on writing it before they put something out, for me, that's...
Again, is why DC they should have just done a hard reboot.
Yeah. Take a break.
2 years down the line, boom, we're getting this set up. So that way... Because again, the hard part about these films is nobody knows if this is going to connect down the line. There was mid-credit, post... There was 2 end credit scenes. One didn't matter. One did set up another film. But it's so hard because you go into this film and it's like they're non-committal of like, well, if it does well, we'll continue it forward. And if it's not, we're going to not pursue it. Which, again, as a viewer, like to me, I wouldn't mind making it a standalone film. Don't do the end credit scenes. Because this movie could have stood by itself. I mean, it really didn't tie. It made Batman and Superman references, but in all reality, they were
Not
just
positive ones, though.
right. And they weren't like, they didn't show video of Batman. They didn't show video of Superman or like the whole universe. It was Batman's a fascist, everything else. So it was just fun jokes of like, mattering when this is a timeline of this whole thing getting rebooted, you could easily fit this anywhere.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, that was smart for sure.
I agree.
But the actors, you know, we had Jenny Cord's character, and Jaime Reyes. They did well together.
Yeah,
you could see the chemistry there.
Yep.
You know, so I like that when there's younger, less known actors, for myself anyway, I when they can do that good of a job, I'm attracted to that. And then of course you know Anna from The Predator, the girl in the woods. I don't know if you've seen The Predator, but
no, I've only watched
Mama Reyes.
Is the only one I've seen.
Okay, you know she did a great job.
Yep.
As Mama Bear.
I like Damián too as the dad.
Yeah, Damián as the dad. I liked Carapax. Where's his name here? Raoul. I knew I had it somewhere. And then, you know, that arc that they did where he kind of remembered his childhood and why it started and happened, and so Speaking of Iron Man, you got the nice little Tony Stark thing of the, instead of Stark Industries, they had the Cord Industries. I know
that was kind of cheesy.
That's super cheesy. Yeah. But at any rate, I think really for this level, it was really pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually a 4-2.
Okay. Yeah, I really like the family dynamic. I mean, the movie's called Blue Beetle, but very easily you could take the superhero elements of the Blue, because they did the kind of thing of like, oh, there's it was Jenny's dad used to be Blue Beetle without the whole, you know, Beetle connecting to the body. They could have easily connected to that and just been a group, again, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's really focused on the family working together to battle against the enemy. And I thought that was a really cool way to do it, and that a lot of the characters, they did a good job sharing that screen time, where it wasn't too focused on one character or it's one of these family members I don't really care about. I really did like Rudy Reyes' characters and his nice little truck that kept getting beat up. I thought that was really funny. So I gave actor chemistry a 4-3. It was a very solid start. It's a big group to have connected together right away and to carry the whole film. And it did a good job, in my opinion.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's fun. I hope that they can stick with it.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely deserve the second chance. I think the biggest thing for Blue Beetle right now, could you imagine if, like we were talking about, like during the height of some of these superhero films, or if DC was actually in a strong point within their movies and have actually had a decent film release in the last 2 or 3 years, besides like just the Batman or stuff like that are very much side projects. Like, I think this could have been a lot of fun to build into the universe. But again, I think the movie had a hard time and could flop only because DC doesn't have the reputation right now of making good films.
Right.
Man, I liked it.
I did too.
I wish they would have played more into the vibrant colors.
Yes. It was kind of that 80s neon
Yeah.
thing, you know, and even the logo, you know, here is kind of that 80s.
Yeah.
So-
What was the city called? It starts with a P. I can't remember.
Palmyra?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't
that sounds
it?
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I might have
Very
it
cool
here.
idea of a city.
Yeah.
I thought it was very unique. And again, I wish they would have played. They did a good job of the dichotomy. That's a word. Between, you know, the luxury city life and then kind of the outskirts of being more in the poverty. So the color, I think, was a big part of that. But I still wish there would have been more vibrancy in areas.
I agree. They definitely could have played off of that more, because that culture that they were in is a very vibrant colored culture. They have a lot of different, all their houses, like in the United States, our houses are like, there's 4 colors on one block, and they're, and that's not the case.
No.
You know, so I do agree with that. I did notice that. I thought that they had a lot to play off of that they didn't. Yeah. But I think they did a great job. The CGI was so much better than like.
It's because it was minimal. Like, and again, there was the CGI was intentional when they used it.
Yes. Yes.
They didn't just use it for the kicks and giggles.
Absolutely, kicks and giggles. I think there's another term for that, but we won't use that.
That's right. We can make sure 4-year-olds can listen to this and not learn too much vocabulary.
You got it. Actually, that brings something up that I'll say here, because I was thinking that this was a PG going into it. Yeah. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, this isn't a PG. Yeah. So I'm glad it's a 13 because it definitely should not be anybody, in my opinion, too young watching it. There's a lot of language brutal. And there's violent. And,
I really hope DC still isn't afraid to go into the brutality.
Yeah, some of the dark stuff.
As a viewer, not being a kid or having kids at this point, I enjoy seeing that.
Well, I think there's definitely enough kid characters that they can play off of, and there should be some adult characters. I mean, Deadpool did phenomenal.
Oh, sure did.
So I don't think they should be scared of it per se. But back to kind of what in cinematography. So I guess I didn't look at who the cinematographer was, but I know most of them were very not well-known, huge names. No. But I think that they did a solid job. I don't think that it's a phenomenal job, but because it is solid, I'm a 4.0. Okay.
The only other thing I'll mention is the one thing I wish we were talking about Carapax. I wish his costume was a little more unique. I played some video games, or I've seen some video games, and there were times where it looked like the Halo character, and then there was times where it looked like a Dead Cell character, which, again, I just wish it was a little more unique, but they were trying to mimic the blue and red, the good guys of Blue Beetle, and then the bad guy being the red with Carapax, so I thought the color design was good. I just wish the overall costume was a little bit different. And then the colors were fun, and I liked the vibrancy, but it made me wish they continued it throughout the film more than what they did. So I gave it a 3.
Okay. I thought you'd be higher than that, because I thought that just because of some of the really good positive things that were in it, that you'd be a little higher. Yeah.
Again, I think maybe I should score it higher, but part of the reason there wasn't the consistency throughout the film. So when I saw it and it looked phenomenal, I wish they would have just been more consistent throughout the film with it as well.
Yeah, no, that's true. Again, it's probably one of those that is more of a learning process and stuff for them at this point with this. What works, what doesn't work, and things. So
Paweł Pogorzelski was the cinematographer.
Okay. Did you have it? You looked it up?
Good old IMDb is a nice, quick resource to be able to find things quickly.
Yes, that's true.
So it's weird because we kind of flipped what we normally do in this film. I didn't do any research. I watched none. I guess that's not too far off when I normally go into film. I'll watch the trailers if they're in the movie theater, but I know a little bit. Like, I've watched some of the animated shows like Brave and the Bold, and Blue Beetle shows up a little bit with that, but I'm not an avid watcher of that, so I didn't know much about him, but I knew he was a character within DC. Is basically all I knew about it. And so when you're doing the research and the more of the negative stuff, I was like, maybe he'll be pleasantly surprised, because I did enjoy myself in this film with the humor, and some of the stories were really interesting to listen to and experience.
Some of them were they went one too far,
Yeah.
and that sort of like diminished it a bit.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a negative, because we like campy.
Yeah, we sure do.
And some of it was
We're
definitely campy.
and we know it.
That's right. And don't worry, be campy.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Camp for days.
so I think that some of those things were a little bit of like,
Yeah.
But for the overall like feel of it, I liked it. It was definitely different type of humor. I wonder, where some of that fits into like some of their own personalities.
Yeah.
Obviously it was written in there, but how
Right.
they kind of contributed for their own personalities and stuff like that, because they always do.
Yeah.
Will Smith is, Will Smith jokes and,
Exactly.
all that kind of stuff. Eddie Murphy, same thing.
Seth Rogen.
Yes, we talked about him
sure
recently. Yeah. And so I think that because of that, maybe they think they're a little bit funnier than they are. They're not comedians, they're actors.
Right.
So I was like,
George Lopez.
Well, I mean George, but
Yeah.
I'm
Otherwise,
saying the
other than
overall,
that, yeah.
the overall. And George Lopez did seem very natural.
Yeah.
He
He fit really well. They let him be him, and I think
Yeah.
that played super well for
Absolutely.
what the character needed to be.
Absolutely. So overall entertainment, I'm not sure that I really want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Like out of the gate, if they come out in another few years, and I would say, maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it. I think that they won't touch this for 3 years, maybe more.
Well, especially with the writers' strike stuff going on.
Well, that's true too. But I would say even 5 years. If it's 5 years, okay. But I don't think it'll be sooner than that.
I don't think. I mentally, I'm thinking 6.
Which is sad.
Yeah,
Because they kind of have to redo it then.
that's true.
That's too long.
Yeah,
But with the state of everything,
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
that's true. It could just be like all these other movies, like Avatar. You
Yeah.
see Dune got pushed back too?
It's November.
Nope, it's March. It got pushed back.
They just showed a trailer today.
Well, I think it happened in this last week.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm
Yeah, that
assuming
said
with some of
November.
the trailer stuff, it's hard to get like the film and stuff of that fixed for it. But that got pushed to March because of some of the writer strike stuff going on. And then I saw these nice memes for Miss Marvel being like, oh, or the film being so like the writers being excited because now we can go to the IMAX. I'm like, I'm still not going to experience that movie on an IMAX. I don't even know if I want to experience it on a theater.
I know. It's going to be another disaster.
But I suppose that's a whole side tangent. I was overall entertained. I could just see myself watching this, like if it drops onto Max, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I think they've already sort of said that it will.
Yeah. I could see myself of like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like then just rewatching it at home if I'm like crocheting or doing something else. Because it is an entertaining film to have in the background. Again, it has a lot of one-liners, good jokes. I really did like the relationship between Jaime and Alberto, his dad. I thought they played that really well, even with like the afterlife scene. Really cool how they pieced that all together for Jaime and understanding the importance of family and what his role within the family is too. So I gave it a 4.3. I was entertained. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice refresh. Again, kind of like we talk about is like one of those things of maybe I had low expectations, so then it's easier to exceed them. If I had higher expectations, like it's really easy to change your entertainment score based off of what your expectations for the film are going to be.
Yeah.
So my expectations certainly were not high for this. And I liked a lot of the different references. I liked the nice little Batcave. I liked I think DC does a really good job of subtly, the one thing I like about the DCEU currently, and I know it's going to be going away in mere moments, but they're really good at joking about Batman's character, Superman's character, without involving them in it.
Yeah.
And some of like the Marvel films, they don't really do that. If they're not in the film, they're not going to get mentioned.
Sure.
So I do enjoy that they do that in the DCU because it helps with the world building.
Oh yeah, top of mind awareness.
Yeah,
that's some good marketing
That's
right there. So I'm a 4.0 on this one.
Yeah.
I might buy it. I might not.
Yeah.
We'll see where the DC universe, whatever they're going to call it, is going to go. We'll see where it goes.
It'll be a nice reflection piece.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a cool poster.
Yeah, it is. Again, the vibe. I love the neon.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
That's all.
Any last words?
No, because I want to read your mind.
Perfect. We want to read your comment though, so make sure that you send us a comment and an email if you want to, but comment below, comment above, wherever you're watching, listening. We appreciate you, the listener, the viewer, and all those things that you contribute to our anxiety. See you next time. Oh wait, I almost forgot.
I know.
Wow.
I was ready. I would have messed it up. Gosh, I hate thinking. It's LegitQ at maddysmoviemix.com if you want to send us a snide remark, or maybe send us a nice one. Matt's mean to me sometimes, so I need uplifting.
It's true. It's true.
See ya.
Hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bells, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate it.
Stop listening to Podcast Topless. We're shiny brand products that are so comfortable you'll think you're topless. Check out shinybrandproducts.com.